Just ringing off the hook, just blowing up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, on Trades Talk today, podcast studio, we have Robert Beard.
Hello.
Robert, welcome on, man.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. You're my brother from another mother, literally.
Exactly. I mean, it's a good thing we're not actually like biological brothers, because my mom would not be able to take both of us.
No, she wouldn't. She'd have gray hair like 20 years ago.
She almost didn't make it out of her 30s without it. I mean, she had me as a kid.
Between you and your sister? Yeah.
Oh, it was. We put my mom through so much. I'm not sorry, but
you know she's gonna see this.
Absolutely. I love my mom.
Yeah.
But
Carol is amazing.
She's a great gal. But yeah, a little bit of Robert goes a long way. and I feel like if I don't come with the idea, you would. So we have a lot of fun.
We definitely share that attribute together.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wanted you on here for multitude of reasons, but just since you and I have met each other, we've worked well together. We've become friends over the years, and I've come to you for advice. I've loved having you in my life, whether it's business, personal, whatever the case may be. So I greatly appreciate it. So
it's a mutual appreciation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so what I'd like to talk to you about is the connection that you have had, that you and I have grown a relationship through in the trades.
Yeah.
Your time in real estate, what you've shared with me, and how we've built our relationship. I'm hoping to let everybody else see why you're so special and you're awesome.
Well, I think the first thing is, being special.
Way to put you on the spot, huh?
What it comes down to is just, I've always tried to at least as an adult have a commitment to realizing that other people matter. And so one of the gifts God gave me is just the gift of gab, and I don't know a stranger. And so I tend to latch on to people and make good friends. Just there's an old Irish saying, there's no such thing as a stranger, just a friend you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
And so I
already busting out the Irish, aren't you?
Man, it just ebbs and flows. Oh yeah. But really, it just comes down to is when you're in an entrepreneurial field like real estate, travel advising, whatever you do, if it's entrepreneurial, you have to look at it as a relationship business, because it's not sales. It's not anything more than good customer service. And one of the biggest mistakes people make in these entrepreneurial fields is they go, man, if I could just get that next sale, well, the best sales will come from the relationships that you build. And so early on in my real estate career, I quickly realized how important it is to have not only that network, but just that list of go-tos that you can go to provide best customer service for your clients. And if you don't build good relationships with professionals like yourselves, they don't want to answer the phone when you call. And many times having that resource of being able to leverage a good relationship, that really makes the difference between being an okay professional and an outstanding professional.
Oh yeah. Well, I always believe in the tried and true statement of, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
100%.
And when it comes down to, especially our fields, the way that they are connected, who you know is going to make you look good. And 100%. I've heard it a lot from Jason Garraway.
Yeah.
You make me look good.
Yeah.
With what you have done for my client, my customer, you make me look good. Yes, you look good at the same time, but in turn, because I referred you and you did an outstanding job, you made me look good, therefore I can go further in my career.
Correct. And a big factor in that is the very simple psychological fact that trust transfers.
Yes.
I trust you, and you said that you trust this professional over here, so now I'm going to trust that person because I trust you and you trust them. So that law of reciprocity, when it comes to the trust factor, that's huge.
Oh yeah, all day. Now, you said you built a client list or a trades list and a trusted people list. How big has that list become over the years? It's probably dwindled down, huh?
No.
No?
See, here's the thing. I've got a very small list of people that I know are my absolute go-tos, but I always have people on the fringe for the rare instance that one of my go-tos is not available.
I see.
So
second choice.
So let's talk real estate photography. I know probably at least 5 or 6 real estate photographers. On average, I call 1, maybe 2 to photograph the listings that I take.
Right.
So when it comes to roofs, same thing. Now, with real estate, you've got to be careful because if you start making recommendations, it does present liabilities. So you're supposed to hand out a certain number, usually 3 or 4, and the client chooses. But for my oh crap moments that come up, I've got a fairly small list of absolute go-tos, but I've got a big pool that I can draw from, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. So I have a list called a Dirty 30.
I like that. I like that.
So my list it's a little different though. So instead of the professionals that I call to be able to help me out, these are essentially my people that I need to rotate through in order to get business.
Sure.
But I also need to make sure that these people are taken care of well.
Oh yeah.
Now, back in the day, whenever I kind of first started that list, it was more of how can I, instead of through networking, it's more of what can I do for you?
Yes.
So that I can get from you.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more focused on the relationship instead of translation of just money.
It takes it from transactional to actually relational.
Yeah. So I've shifted that perspective on what I've done and how I've done it but I still maintain that Dirty 32.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when someone is not as transactional with me or they fall off and they change careers or they do something different, they come off the list, but that means I need to repopulate it with somebody else.
Correct.
So I have that ever evolving list constantly that not only feeds me business, but I figure out what value I can provide to them in that as well. And of course, there's the top 5, top 10 out of that list, but that list is probably a lot more than 30. However, I mean, just as you know, I've called you multiple times and just been like, I need to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And you were the very first, boom, top of the list on who I'm talking to about that.
I'm honored.
So tell me, within the real estate world, I know you've seen multiple changes. You've been through multiple changes, but you as a professional within that real estate arena, I've known you to be in a training role.
Yeah. They say
that tells me you definitely got the knowledge.
Well, they say that those that can't do teach. That's a bad joke.
That one, yeah.
I for a number of years, I actually I helped train agents at our local real estate association. So at one point, I was actually teaching continuing education courses to other professionals, but I was also helping get new agents licensed and getting them trained up to take the test, things like that. But I also
now that's like new agents coming into the office, right?
That's new agents coming into the industry.
Okay.
So what I was
just in your office,
yeah, not just at the brokerage I'm at, just what it was, the Realtors of South Central Kansas.
Okay.
For I think about 5-6 years, I taught CE courses, but I also was teaching the licensing courses and the practice courses. And so it gave me an opportunity to put a little bit of a thumbprint on incoming professionals to the industry. And it was a little selfish on my part why I did that. You know, they approached me with it, and I was a little selfish the reason I chose to do it, because I have to work with these people.
Right.
And my job is a lot easier if I get to work with competent, good people versus not that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be tactful here, but I mean, sometimes you just have the unfortunate situation of working with somebody that just, they do not understand what they're doing.
Right.
And so prior, years and years ago when I was in college, one of the directions that I was going was teaching. I was actually going to be a school teacher. And I started seeing what teachers put up with, and I said, heck no. I said, not a chance.
A lot nowadays, especially.
Well, and I realized I was going to end up in an orange jumpsuit, and despite it being one of the colors on the Irish flag, it ain't my color. So, yeah. And, there's that whole inconvenience of being incarcerated. So I said, I'm not doing this.
Freedoms are gone.
It's like, over. So I made the decision that I wanted to do something different, but I've always had the passion for teaching. And, so through the years, I've taught small groups at church. I've led lessons with youth groups and things like that, Bible studies. And one of the things my office actually asked me to lead is a book club. So there's the real heart of a teacher. So yes, I love training people to make them better professionals, because, when you talk about real estate agents are at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, you've got used car salesmen, lawyers, and realtors or real estate agents.
See, and I find that a little bit interesting, because some of the industries, especially like in the trades, they think the roofing is. Because we are the king of the trades. I don't care who says it. We are the king of the trades.
But I can see that, just.
I mean, we're the first in the door.
Yeah.
What's first on the insurance estimate? The roof. Everything else is secondary to what we are.
Well,
so
if you don't
we're
have
getting in there first.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't have a good roof, it doesn't matter how good your insulation is.
Exactly.
It's going to get ruined.
People will do things backwards. They don't care about the roof. Oh, it's not leaking right now. Let's remodel the entire inside of our house, and then boom, here comes a storm, and now we're back to
that gorgeous countertop's going to have some problems if it's.
So you always start at the roof, and then you work your way down.
Yeah.
So therefore, roofing is king of the trades.
It's good to be the king.
But at the same time, there's a lot of people that are probably going to comment on this and say, no, it isn't, or, bottom of the barrel. However, in the roofing industry, I'm trying to change that as far as the image of it and the way that it is, doing things morally, ethically, and not approaching it in just that driven sales, aggressive car salesman approach.
Honestly, and I'm glad you brought that up, because from a real estate standpoint, something that has always bothered me, I do not even like the fact that my license to sell real estate says salesperson.
Yeah.
I feel that is a conflict of interests.
We are business coordinators.
Business coordinators.
Relationship coordinators.
In a lot of ways, yes. But I see myself in real estate. I am a customer service professional that has a specialty in real estate.
Oh.
That is my focus, because it doesn't matter if I can sell the house if I'm not providing good customer and client care. Yep. And so I don't want to go off into the weeds too much on this, but when it comes to real estate, I am convinced that the only question that a client or customer is asking is they want to know the answer to one question. Maybe this is two. It's been a long time since I've been in grammar, but I am convinced that when it comes to somebody selecting the professional they're going to use to buy or sell a home, it comes down to answering this question. Are you going to take care of me? or are you capable of taking care of me, and are you going to do it? It's a two-pronged question. And if you can convince them that, yes, I'm capable and I'm going to, that's the person they want to hire.
Fair enough.
And so similar to what you were talking about with the roofs, I think, kind of like attorneys, there's a lot of storm chasers or ambulance chasers or sales breath having people that are just out there to sell a product.
Paper pushers.
There you go. And it's only about the numbers. And unfortunately, with a lot of these industries, I think you get a situation where you've got the professionals, and I use that term very loosely, but you get these people in the industry that will run roughshod and steamroll over anybody to get to that paycheck. And that's a problem.
Well, it just looks bad on the rest of us actually doing it the right way,
or
attempting to do everything the right way.
It sets it up that, that's the way these people in this industry are. Why would I ever want to work with them? I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Well, I want to know about Robert.
Yeah. Well, so tell me, what do you want to know?
I mean, I already know.
Fair enough.
Tell me, so where'd you grow up? Where you come from?
Yeah.
All of that good stuff. What's Robert?
I am a 40-year-old Wichita native. And for 38 of my 40 years, I've been right here in Wichita. I spent a couple of years at Bible college. But I grew up on the south side. So I am a follower of Jesus, but don't try me. But no, I grew up.
Jesus will take the wheel, but he will drive off if I need him to.
Hey, it is what it is. But no, I'm a Wichita thoroughbred. Dad grew up here, Mom grew up here in Kansas, and so we're Kansan thoroughbreds.
Where'd you go to school?
Oh man, that's a long question. That's a long answer. So I started at the Christian Academy our church had, went to a different Christian academy, went to homeschooling, went to Allison Magnet, went to Trinity, and graduated from Heights. I was all over the place, man.
All over the place.
All over the place.
Did you know Chris Thurston was in our class at Heights?
Did not know that. That's cool.
I found that out on the roof with an adjuster like a week ago.
He probably remembers me rocking out on the guitar.
Yeah. You got not a music career, but you are talented on the keyboard on your presentation, sir.
Well, that was, I rewrote Ted Nugent's Cat Scratch Fever. That was electric guitar. So that's kind of funny. I did not realize that he was one of our classmates. That's funny. Small world.
It is. But so it's crazy to see that we all kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah.
And then
ended up back together.
Kind of back. Now,
it's funny how that works.
You both were a couple classes ahead of me, a couple years ahead of me. But I mean, you two were both in the same class.
That's hilarious. I don't think I knew that. I'm gonna have to let him know that.
Yeah.
Because now I've got another conversation to have.
I was like, what? And
he was like, serious?
I found out that we went to Heights together. And
that's hilarious. Yeah, I did not know that. I did not know that.
Those days were a little different for me. Wasn't the professional that I am now.
Well, thank God I'm not the guy I was. Yeah. I mean, there's probably some people that wish I was, but I was,
gotta grow, gotta learn.
If you peak in high school, that's a lot of life to. One of my favorite. It really is. And one of my favorite quotes from Benjamin Franklin, he said that many men die at 25 and aren't buried until they're 75.
Oh, I thought he was talking about marriage.
No, I like being married, but I think there's probably some people that feel that way.
Just joking. Jeez.
Erica, he was joking. But no, I've always loved that quote because it really speaks to the importance of continually growing. Kind of your point a minute ago, but you want to continue to grow as a person, and whatever format that looks like. Don't be the same person you were yesterday.
Oh yeah,
be better.
Always, one day at a time, one step at a time.
Oh yeah,
I'll always try to go for glory and just As long as you're progressing in a way that's a positive manner to you and who's around you, that's a step in the right direction, no matter what.
I am a huge believer that you become a product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if most people understood how powerful that really is, I think people would be far more selective who they are around.
Oh, yeah.
And that is one of the number one things you can control in your life. And so many people, I think, don't realize that. And it has so many negative implications because, if you spend time with 5 alcoholics, guess what? You will be the 6th.
Yeah.
If you
You're
spend
a product of your own environment.
Bingo. Conversely, if you spend time with 5 millionaires, you will be the 6th. It's because you for whatever reason, you tend to follow the people you're around.
It's the community building.
There you go.
So what community you're in and a part of, and as long as you feed into it and you listen to it, you will grow from it in either direction. You're either going to decline or you're going to incline. Kind of goes the same way with other things too. You're not growing unless you outgrow your circle.
Absolutely.
You've got to progress. So just because if this circle is constantly not going anywhere, you've got to upgrade your friends, upgrade your life, if that's the course that you're wanting to take in a positive manner. Well, in business, particularly, you got to always change. Got to change.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would say that it's a real illusion to be stagnant.
Yeah.
Like you can have stagnant water, but life moves. So I personally think that it's an absolute illusion to have a still stagnant life because it's moving whether or not you think it. And one of my favorite analogies for this is talking about success in life. And the definition of success, I think, is a little subjective for people because what you see as successful may not be the way I see it, and vice versa. But if you look at success in life, it's an escalator. It's not a staircase. It's the escalator that's going down, and you're trying to get up. So if you're not actively working towards improving your situation, the minute you take a break, you start losing ground. And so it really is something that people need to keep a mindful watch on, because you can real quickly find yourself a lot further away from your goals in life if you're not actively working towards them, because life is fluid. It moves.
See, I kind of look at success like Mario.
If you can't blow it up, eat it, or stomp on it? Oh, okay.
No, like all the little toadstone blocks that you got to bounce around on, and sometimes you hit your head, and every once in a while, there's some good that'll come out of it. Every once in a while, there's some shit that'll come out of it.
It is what it is.
Wrong tunnel, well, you're screwed. See, I mean, life's been good. It's been very challenging, but it's been good. It's introduced me to the right professionals, the right people,
absolutely,
that have. I mean, honestly, you've helped me in the past 5 years progress and move my life forward. Just 7 years ago, I mean, I was on my uncle's couch and living out of 2 bags, and I've done quite well for myself.
Yes, you have
in 7 years. So, it's not because of one particular thing. It's because of the people that I've involved myself with. So enough about that. Music.
Okay.
I want to hear about your tales of music, because I have seen you play the guitar, sing, and the keyboard. What else can you play?
Well, I am what most people would consider to be a poly-instrumentalist. I'm reminded.
Hell is that? I ain't never heard that word before.
I play multiple instruments to varying degrees of proficiency.
I just figured that was called a musician.
But not every musician is capable of playing multiple instruments.
I see.
So I think of some friends of mine, incredible violin or fiddle players, they don't play anything else.
Now, is it more of like string where they're staying like percussion and string? Because I know like Dave Grohl he's
he's all
amazing.
over the place.
Yeah, drummer for Queens of the Stone Age, drummer for Nirvana, lead singer, guitarist for Foo Fighters.
Correct.
Like he's all over the place and very multi-talented.
Yeah.
But that's like a string and a percussion.
Correct.
So two different spectrums.
It is. So to answer your question, I do play a lot of different instruments. I do tend to gravitate towards stringed instruments just because once you've got the calluses and you understand how it works, why stop at one? So I play acoustic and electric guitar. You can make the argument, oh, it's guitar. Yeah, but the way you play them is different.
Yeah.
There's a reason Ted Nugent has never done an acoustic set. He's a very good guitar player, but that's not his jam. So the way you approach the instrument with an acoustic is very different from the way you would approach it with an electric. I play electric bass. I play a variety of styles of keyboard. So I play piano, but I also play synthesizers and organs. And they have their own intricacies and own inflection points and things like that. I do not possess the coordination apparently to play drums, but I can play percussion instruments. So I do like to play the Irish bull run. It's a frame drum that you hold in your hand. You play it with a stick called a tipper or a stick, I play hand drums and things like that. You're good.
No way you're describing it. Like you just play it with stick.
That's the way they do it. That's the way the Irish talk about it. It's like you Yanks all call them tippers. It's a stick. So it's a lot of fun. But I also play some other instruments, ukulele, mandolin, hammered dulcimer, lap dulcimer.
I have no idea what these are.
That's okay. I'll send you a photo.
Okay, yeah.
But I also play.
Now is that like flute?
But I also play Irish penny whistles or tin whistles and low whistles. So kind of like the electric guitar versus the acoustic, they're similar, but the way you play them is different. Even though a lot of the functionality is the same. And I do sing, I just don't sing often because I don't have the voice that I would like to have. My wife is the singer. She's very good and very incredible singer. Yes, my sister's a good singer too. Love my sister voice. Wish I'd get her back to church to sing with us.
I wondered if, I saw some posts on Facebook about it, but I know she's going to watch this.
That's okay. I'm okay with my sister watching this. What's up, Erica? Love you. But I love my family. But yeah, music.
Your family's awesome.
I'm a little biased. I think they are. But no, so I took piano lessons when I was a kid.
Did that help you gain more interest into the other instruments?
Yes and no. And I can unpack that a little bit. Little 4 or 5 year old ADHD Robert Beard, I wasn't doing much. I made it through a couple of piano recitals, but I got so bored. Cause I know this is shocking, but anybody watching this, I'm ADHD. So I get bored. And so at the time I was more interested in doing physical things. So I actually I ended up playing baseball for about 15 years. We get along. Dude, we're Mentos and Diet Coke. We're an explosive combination. So
that's why your mom definitely could.
She cannot have us in the same house at the same time. We would drive her nuts.
We should pay her a visit.
I like the way you think.
We should.
We will all be together tomorrow. If you've got 20 minutes, I know it's Thanksgiving, but if you've got 20 minutes, I'm sure we could swing by. I'm sure we could make an impression. It's like, oh crap, they're here. But no, so I actually played baseball for 15 years.
Really?
But if I look back on my life, and I don't want to go off into the weeds on this too much or get sappy, but I actually when I was in 6th grade, I actually had a staff member at the school I was at get physically violent with me. And the principal at the time made the decision, oh, well, he's a friend of mine from college, so we're going to back him up. And it's like, well, forget you, pal. So looking back on that, if I look back on my life, that was kind of the moment. If this was the trajectory of my life, that kind of knocked it off course and took me a different direction. Because, as a 11-year-old kid, you don't really know how to process that. But looking back on it, it was a traumatic experience. And so coming out of that, my dad was in a singing group called Harvest with the church. And one of the things that he would do is use a computer program to put some music tracks together. And so to get the sounds for the track, he actually went out and bought a keyboard to plug into the computer to put these together. Well, I had taken lessons, 10 years before, 5-6 years before. And so I went out there and started playing, and about 6th, 7th grade, I found that I had a proficiency for playing keyboard a little bit. And so I started self-teaching myself how to play along with Michael W. Smith songs. And so what that did was it gave me a real appreciation for music that really helped me kind of get through some bad times in my life, because 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, they weren't particularly good school years for me. And my freshman year of high school, I picked up an electric guitar for the first time after playing keyboard for a couple of years. And about that same period of time, I had started playing with the worship band at our church. And so then I started playing electric guitar. And my dad had a very simple conversation with my mom, because I fell in love with the loud electric guitars, that sort of thing. And as I recall, I wasn't part of this conversation, but my dad a few years later told me how this conversation went. So, Mom, if you're watching this, here's what I was told. So,
about to sell your dad out.
I think my sister and I and my wife and my brother-in-law, we intentionally like to mess with my dad.
Oh, yeah. I'd see that.
It's a passion. But apparently my dad sat down with my mom and said, okay, Robert's a sophomore in high school. We both know what he's like. If we say no rock music, he's going to run headlong into this. And as I see it, we have one of two options. We can tell him no, and he's going to run into whatever his friends at school are listening to. Or, second option, I can introduce him to the classic rock that I grew up with, and most of them are dead, so he can't go see them in concert. Or they're not doing drugs anymore because they realize, hey, this is bad for us. So this is my interpretation of what happened, because I don't know how this story ended. I just know what happened. I have the suspicion my mom went cold and just goes, fine. And
you did that perfectly.
I am my mother's son. And so my dad started introducing me to classic rock, Clapton, Cream, Jimi Hendrix, Starship, all these older groups, many of them no longer around. And I absolutely fell in love with it. So coming through that situation in 6th grade, I was so depressed by the time I got to sophomore year. It was a miracle that I was still alive, because there were times that I wanted to not be alive. And so battling...
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad I am here as well, because my life is great now. And it wasn't always, but I think that's just the way life is.
We got to go through the hard times
exactly.
to get to the good. The
valleys make you appreciate the mountaintops a lot more.
The rain makes you appreciate the sunshine.
And there's no growth without a little rain.
Oh, no.
But my sophomore year of high school, that was another landmark moment musically for me. I got up on stage with Mr. Jones, who was my algebra teacher, and one of the juniors. Both of these guys are black, and it was the talent show in February, sponsored by the African American Awareness Club. And so they sponsored a talent show, and I got up there with two black guys, a little white Robert Beard, and I got up there and did Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner, and then launched into Purple Haze. I kicked that thing off, and I had that place whipped into a frenzy. And the interesting thing was, I went from being the guy that everybody picked on to being a rock star in about 5 minutes.
Transformational, just boom.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I literally had a guy, and he was kind of the blowhard bully. Like, he'd never actually do it, but he was big enough that you were like
right.
he's eventually
just
going
the
to.
Intimidation factor.
He was always saying, "I'm going to kick your butt." He didn't say it that nicely, but he was
Oh,
always
you
he
can
was
say-
always
you
he
can
was
cuss
always
on
making
here.
yeah,
Come
but
on.
I don't cuss. But he was always threatening to beat me up among the other 30 people that he was messing with. He literally walked up to me the day of the talent show and said, "I'm going to take you out back later." And it's like, whatever. He comes up to me after the talent show and goes, "Hey, yeah, I guess you're pretty cool. Hey, if anybody's ever messing with you, let me know. I'll take care of them." It's like, you were the one. You were the one who was just saying. It's like, it's like, take yourself out back and kick your own butt.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go look in the mirror, man.
But yeah, so it was one of those things. God gave me a gift of music, and I've been able to continue to use that gift through the years, and I just keep adding more toys to the mix. So here we are.
The other toy to the mix. Tell us about our new adventure.
Well, yeah. So as if real estate is not a full enough career.
Yeah.
But I turned 40 in September, and I've told a few people this, and midlife crisis, huh? Aren't you a little young for that? Well, one, it ain't a midlife crisis, and sorry, middle age is about 37. Most people don't realize that, but if you go just on average age, I'm over that hump. So I started looking at diversification. The average millionaire's got 7 streams of income. And so I started looking at, what can I take with the skill set that I've built with real estate? What else does that tie in nicely with? And over the last couple or 3 years, I've seen some other options. I started one business that didn't really go where I needed it to. I considered some other things, but I will probably always have a real estate license. I'm very passionate for that industry. But the other thing that I'm realizing as I'm getting older is I care far more about helping people build memories, have great experiences with their loved ones, whether it's family, friends, both, neither, but giving people the opportunity to have lifelong memories and great experiences. And so I started looking at, what does that look like? What skill set do I possess that would tie in well? And so I've locked arms with some friends of mine over at the Travel Junkie, Jay and Becca Dill, shout out, great people. But I am also, in addition to a real estate professional, now also a full service travel advisor.
And it's Travel by Beard?
Yep. Travel by Beard. This was a requirement with the name. But yeah, so I have over the last few months done a lot of research into what does it look like to become a travel advisor, and after sitting down with them, I knew they were who I wanted to work with, and here we are.
Well, we used Shield Roofing used the Travel Junkies a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah, for our trip to Mexico.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we will be coming back for our trip that's coming up for our tremendous year that we've had.
Fantastic.
To that, which you would be our representative.
Wow. Thank you. Be happy to help.
I know Delana would definitely enjoy the conversation. Not only that, but just with all that you've done with Shield Roofing over the course of time.
Well, those relationships, they
matter.
They matter, and when you have the opportunity to work for friends and work with friends, you help each other out. Definitely. So yeah, I'd love to have that conversation with you guys.
Now, Are you keen on certain travel spots? You knew. So I told Delana immediately. I was like, "Don't let Robert."
Hey, Devin. I feel like that was the ultimate softball. That was a beach ball.
I told her yesterday about like you coming on and everything, and I was like, "All right, Delana, don't let Robert talk you into going to Ireland for our company trip."
Why? Ireland's amazing.
Like, I want to go to Ireland.
Sold. There we go.
So I get to pick this year on where we go.
Okay.
And it's Costa Rica.
Costa Rica is fantastic. I've not personally been there, but everybody that has gone has said it's spectacular.
So I think it was either between Bahamas and Costa Rica, or there was one other place, and I forgot exactly what it was, but we weren't going to go back to Mexico to Cancun. We were going to go to, I think it was, Costa Rica.
Okay. But, fantastic.
Now, don't get me wrong. I want to go to Ireland. I want to go there first.
Ireland is a 300 by 150 mile island. There's a lot to do there, but it's not the only place in the world. Now, it is a place that I love the most. I love Ireland, but I think you had asked, is there anywhere that I specialize in? I do specialize in Ireland, but I also am passionate for those all-inclusive resort types, whether it's the Caribbean or in Mexico. Those are fantastic. That's kind of the bread and butter for travel right now anyways. But, really it just comes down to having the conversation with somebody, what kind of experience are you looking for? Right. And this is where my expertise in real estate is not just the real estate market. It's that customer service factor that I talked with you about earlier. Being able to bring those kind of vetting questions and knowing the right questions to ask.
Rather than just selling a trip.
It's not sales.
Yeah.
It's because here's the thing. You could hop on the internet and book your own trip.
Yeah.
Why do people hire a travel advisor? It's because we know the things that you don't. It's because we've got the experience within the industry to help people really
get the most bang for their buck.
And not just bang for the buck, but also how can you take a good trip and make it flippin' amazing?
Right.
And those little details that come up in those conversations that you have with a customer that's wanting to travel, those little infinitesimal details, they can make all the difference.
So now, in my experience with traveling, and any time that I've done a quote unquote vacation or went here, went there, did that, there was never, there was always the moment of, I wish this would have been more memorable. I wish I would have had this. I wish I would have had that. But there was never, how do I get that? So I know with hiring a travel agent that has that experience, that can tailor that trip specifically and know those right questions to ask, make it even more powerful of a vacation for the family, for friends, for business, whatever the case may be. On their questions, you might not even know that you have until you get back wishing that you would have done it.
Correct.
So that's where I see the most powerful, relationship that you're going to be able to have is knowing those questions, knowing what that person would ultimately want in their trip before they even know that they want it, or by the time they get back and go, why didn't you tell us about this?
Bingo. And that's the thing. So I'm trying to remember, you're a fan of The Office?
Not, I mean, sort of.
Okay. Well,
I'm a fan of all the memes that come from it.
Show me another TV series that has had more memes built off of it.
Yeah.
I'll wait. I don't think you'll find it. The closest one would be Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation, because Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
He's my spirit animal. Anyway, I actually, complete side tour. I actually had a friend of mine the other day say, "You remind me of Ron Swanson." I was like, I'll take that as a compliment because I like the guy. I feel like I'm too boisterous and laugh too much to be Ron Swanson.
I'd agree with that. And I'd say you're more on the positive, lightful side of Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson's like your the darker half.
Typical cynic libertarian.
Yeah.
I mean, which is why I like him. But there's an episode of The Office where they have pretzel day, and Michael Scott's just sitting there in line and says, "Hey, what toppings do we have?" And the guy just goes through like 30 different options. And, well, we can do this, and, well, is there a way I can do it all? The works it is. That is the kind of thing that you can get from a travel advisor, is we know where to go to get the research. So even if we haven't been to, say, Costa Rica, we know where to go to get the ideas for a client to have that real dynamite of a trip. And so it's really just having somebody that knows how to get the right answers for questions you may or may not realize you've got.
Well, I mean, it's in the name, travel advisor, not a travel sales
And
agent.
there's a reason I have been intentional that I'm a travel advisor, not a travel agent. They're one and the same. But the idea that I wanted to bring to the travel business for Travel by Beard is I want to bring more of a concierge approach. And hey, I'm going to do what I can to make your experience the best you'll ever have. That way, one, you'll want to tell your friends and family about me. But beyond that, I want you to be glad that you hired me. That way, if you ever choose to go somewhere else again, you don't even think of anybody else. That's my goal.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're gonna have to cut her short today. Just sort of short. I mean, 47 minutes.
You and I could talk for hours.
We could. I said I was like, I'm gonna keep these to like 20 to 30 minutes, but I knew with Robert Beard that it was gonna go over. I just made sure I had the space on the card.
Absolutely,
and I was good to go.
Well, Devin, always a pleasure.
Be back on.
Good.
You're after the holidays. We get this episode out, let people see it, and
love it.
And then I want to do kind of a 2-part series.
Let's do it.
I explained this with prior guest, and I want to bring you back on at a later date. Let everybody know, let all the subscribers know, hey, Robert Beard is coming back on. Is there any questions specifically that you would like to ask pertaining to Robert, what he does, anything?
Yeah.
And then I'll go through and I'll ask those questions.
Love it.
Kind of like a live direct Q&A.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, let's do that.
But I'd like for you to be back on, man.
Let's do it.
I'm very, very happy that you came on Trades Talk.
I'm glad I was here too. Thanks, Devin.
You're welcome.